Welcome to the channel, a channel about whatever I want it to be. This wasn't intended to be my first video. My first video was supposed to be turboing in GMC terrain for no other reason than just because, right? But instead, here we are. At some point, I decided I wanted to start messing with Ecotechs again. I had some experience with various Ecotechs in the past and thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it again. So anyway, to start, I'm going to turbo the terrain, do all this stuff. Well, I ended up getting a 2009 Cobalt SS, probably ragged out, doesn't run, etc., right? Anyway, the idea is, how can I get this thing on the road as fast as possible without spending a bunch of money, right? So I had already picked up a Saab LK9 that I had planned on using at least the turbo setup on the terrain. Then I got the bright idea that, you know, instead of drilling out a 2-inch hole in depth in aluminum, I could just go ahead and swap the entire short block, which then led to, can I even do that, right? Can this be done? Can you take this and put it with this? So anyway, same stuff still applies, only now we've got LNF LK9. So basically this video is going to be about converting a Saab LK9 to an LNF. Research online suggested that it probably wouldn't work for a number of reasons. Crankshaft, pistons, other things, right? So I dug a little deeper and I said, okay, well, what if I change the Reluctor wheel on the crankshaft? That's fine, right? The pistons, well, we'll call that part an experiment, right? I have made this swap for people who wanted to save money in the past with 2.4s, where we would take a non-direct inject short block, put the direct inject head on it, save them some money on a used engine, and off it goes, right? Now, this is mostly for friends and, you know, that sort of thing, right? It's not great practice, right? Those pistons in the direct injects are designed to have a little dish to better aid in combustion with that stream of fuel that's coming in at high pressure. So the bigger items, right? The Reluctor wheel. The block has to be torn completely down in order to change this Reluctor wheel, because you have to take the crankshaft out, right? Make sure you don't look at the bearings. Nah, just kidding. You should probably look at them. But anyway, it's not for the faint of heart. You have to disassemble this, and cleanliness should be on your mind, right? Especially during reassembly. In this, we went ahead and did a lot of the dirty work, and then behind the scenes went ahead and cleaned everything up, got everything ready, installed the studs, installed the new head gasket, etc. After you get that all sorted out, right, we have the knock sensors. If you plan on running the stock knock sensors, which I planned on keeping everything exactly the way it was in the car, just to make sure this thing is going to run and do its thing, I went ahead and added the knock sensors to the LK9 engine. Adding these knock sensors, I'm not going to lie, is a little backyardish, which is kind of a lot of things I do, right? But it's in the name of science. Another thing I went ahead and did was I removed the Saab oil cooler adapter, where the oil cooler attaches to it, in lieu of the factory locations for the oil pressure sensor. So we have to take that out, modify the cooler just a little bit, take out a plug, move the sensor over, move the crank sensor over, do all that. So the next segment of the video is going to be the actual work. Now, I spared you as many of the unnecessary details as I could. I shortened the video clips, the commentary is in there. So hopefully you'll get what you need. If you don't, go ahead and hit me in the comments and I'll try to answer it, right? Spare me all the nonsense about the pistons and the efficiency and all that, right? I get it. I do actually kind of want to see how this works with forced induction, because the NA engines, I have not had any problems with making the swap. 3.6, 2.4s, right? It seems to work just fine, right? Is it ideal? No. Is it probably as efficient? No. But if you're cheap like me, go ahead. This is the LK9 crankshaft and reluctor wheel. As you can see, it's at top dead center for 1 and 4. The reluctor wheel is at approximately 1 o'clock. This is the LFJ. It is also at top dead center. As you can see, this reluctor wheel is at approximately 11 o'clock. I know these aren't precise measurements. However, it's enough to get us close. This is the LHU. It also has the reluctor wheel in the 11 o'clock approximate position. Back to the LK9 with the LNF reluctor wheel. It's now looking like it's in the appropriate place. You could only line this up one way on the crankshaft. One more thing you'll have to consider if you want to replace your current 2-liter with an LK9 are the types of pistons. If you have direct injection, these pistons on the left here are from the LK9. The ones on the right here are from an LNF. Now, if you change them or not is up to you. I have made this swap, similar swap from 2.4s from non-direct to direct inject for people interested in saving money on their bottom ends. So I do know this works, and on the surface it appears to work just fine. I have also done this with 3.6 V6s. That's not to say that this is appropriate or ideal, but it will function, and it appears to function. Anytime you've gotten one of these Ecotechs that has had timing chain problems, you should probably go ahead and remove the oil pan and have a look underneath. Pickup, I've already loosened this up, 2 bolts right here, and it slides out, right? Because if your guides have come apart, you may have pieces inside your oil pump pickup tube, and this one has had a number of things underneath it. This looks like a spring from a tensioner, some bearing material. This was also found in there. I'm assuming what happened, right, this had new timing chains on it. I'm assuming that they had changed the timing chain because it had failed for one reason or another. They did not check. This thing was probably starving for oil, depending on how much guide debris and everything else was in this oil pan prior to the engine not running, if that's what happened. Some of this damage may have already occurred, right, because they were ignoring the signs of the rattle. You see we've got another large chunk here that was hiding inside there. So always check the oil pan, right? You don't want to do all this work just to find out that you're going to have to change the engine anyway. Before we switch everything over, another thing to point out are the knock sensors located in the front here on the LNF engine. And the absence on the LK9. Now I'm sure you can tune these out. However, what we're going to do is attempt to drill, tap, and surface that so we can install the knock sensors on the LK9. I've already marked the center. What I'm going to do is take a drill bit smaller than the diameter we need for the die or tap. I've already centered it. Punch. We're going to go ahead and drill it a little bit. Center is in the eye of the beholder. We're going to check my little tool. So this was a hole saw of some sort that I had in my drawer. It looked fairly unused. I went ahead and sanded the outer tips down, but kept this cross section to go ahead and flatten that out. We're going to go a little bit farther. When you get to the tapping portion, you're going to want to make sure you drill straight. A little straighter than this. So the idea here is we're going to flatten this out just a little bit to give that sensor a nice surface. We're going to go ahead and call that good. Give us a nice little off-centered hole to start with, a nice little flat surface for the sensor. Here they are, nice and flush, ready to go. I believe they should work fine. I guess we will find out. On the oil cooler, you're going to need to make a groove approximately right here. I would obviously set that up on the block, figure out where you need to mark it. Basically just notch it out, put the bolt in, the bolt will hold it down, you'll be ready to go. So in case there's any confusion, this large hole here is for the crank sensor. You'll need to swap that over, right? You need the LNF crank sensor in your LK9 bottom end. On here, there is no plug, right, on the LNF. On the LK9, there was a plug here, and there was a cooler adapter attached back here on the back side, right? But we went ahead and took that off, and on the LK9, we removed this plug. We installed it in the factory location. That way, everything should reach and plug in like it's supposed to. The crank sensors are different. The reluctor wheel is different. So you'll need to switch that over as well, right? The holes here and the stud, there are bolt holes that hold that vacuum canister on the front of the block.